Well, happy almost New Year, Sonder family. Welcome to your monthly setup. This evening, I've been looking at the chat, seeing lots of familiar names, seeing some names that have been gone for a while, and you're back. Welcome. And hey, Stephanie, and some brand new folks joining us tonight. Some folks who are trying out a social for the very first time. We are so glad to have you join us this evening. My name is Jennifer Ogilvy, and I am in the Dallas, Texas area. We had a balmy 82 degrees today, so gave my little grand dog a bath and went for a good long walk. And we're getting ready. Our cold weather will be here for January, February. But we were running the heater a few days ago. Now it's 80 degrees. Anyhow, so welcome. I will be your on-camera facilitator. I'll be the only one with camera access and as well as microphone access. So you get to hang back and relax and you've carved out this time for yourself. So we're really glad that you're here. Also on tonight's call, my co-facilitator, the fabulous Bailey Grady, and she's popping on camera right now. She's sending you a wave. Bailey will be hanging out in the chat. If you have any questions this evening, something comes up, and you're not really sure, ask Bailey. She will do her best to point you in the right direction, especially if I'm talking. She'll be able to answer that question pretty quickly. When we work on our journal, I'll be going back and catching up on the chat. You've got both of us on the call tonight to be your resource, to be your facilitators as we set up this new month, new year. This is always like the big one, right? We're all sitting ready for this new year. I saw a really sweet thing today in my Instagram feed about I'm not going to slay this year. I'm not going to slay 2025. I am going to embrace it and walk through it gently. And I kind of like that mindset. Like sometimes, we have this pressure to go, whoa, all out. And then we are exhausting ourselves before it's even February. So we're going to celebrate our ending of 2024 because we have a new beginning just around the corner. There are those community guidelines. We always share these at our socials. You actually, when you joined our Sonder family, these come from those guidelines to be part of our Sonder Club, the app, and we just want to remind everybody we create safe spaces when we're with one another, and you are welcome to come as you are. So if you're just, it's been a bad day, but you're coming to hang out and visit with folks in the chat, we welcome you. And if you're celebrating something, we want to celebrate with you. And if you're having a rough time, we want you to know that this is your community and these are your people, and we take you as you are, and we will support you and give you what you need. I was very privileged last night to be in Bailey's role as we did a monthly setup, and one of our Sonder family members said she's here. She says, I am in the season of getting ready to lose my husband, and the love and the outpouring from our community was so beautiful. And so I think even though we know each other virtually, you come to these enough and we're each other's people, right? So it's just really good to see you. And I'm so glad you're here. So we do a monthly setup. We do usually 3 or 4 of these every month at the end of the month to, preceding the new month to help you get those trackers and everything set up. And then we have weekly setups, and there's usually about 3 of those so that you can then look at, from week to week. And what's great about that is it does create this system of accountability. And I always liken it to if you're a walker and you have somebody waiting at your front door at 5:30 in the morning, then you will get out of bed because you've got that accountability partner. And I feel like this is that accountability so that we can take this beautiful journal, this beautiful tool, and make it work, in our lives. And it's okay to have slumps. It's okay. I tend to go all out the beginning of the month, and then I'll notice I kind of slack off, and I'm ready for that new journal and that fresh start every month. No one's going to pick this up and grade it. This is really a place where you can pour out your thoughts, collect data, and set goals for yourself and figure out, how to be the best version of yourself. So we have this theme. We're going to have a theme every single month. Oh, and before I forget, I neglected to say this is being recorded. And so this, along with all the other monthly setups, will be posted to our Silk and Saunders YouTube channel. Bailey will share all those links at the end of our time together, but there's I think there's like 870 plus socials on there. So, journal socials, setup socials, they're all there. So you'll want to bookmark that, but it is being recorded if you want to go back and catch something that you meant to and didn't get. Also suggesting, if you're new, grab your phone and literally take a picture. If you see something like, I might want to use that, or grab a screenshot. I'm going to share lots of examples of pages from our Sonder family and the way they use their journal. It might be exactly what you were looking for, right? Like you were like, oh, I didn't even think about using that for a symptom tracker. Brilliant. So we're going to be sharing a whole lot of stuff like that. So we have a theme every month, and the theme really helps us have a lens to look at who we are, and we get to know ourselves better through those themes. And so this month's theme is prosperity. And I have shared before, if you've been with me, I come from kind of a scarcity mindset. That's how I grew up, with financial scarcity. And so, this is going to be one of those that I know I'm going to do a lot of growing through. I'm sitting here at over 60 years of age, still dealing with that your and trying to, find the abundance and the prosperity in my life, because you kind of default, to that kind of your family of origin. So prosperity, usually one of the first things for me that pops up is finance, money, that kind of thing. But I love the idea of digging into prosperity in the frame of thriving and abundance in other areas, like this quote: be thankful for what you have, because you'll end up with more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never ever have enough. And for me, I can see that road taken this month. I'm very, very excited about prosperity. So we always like to shout out to our founder's welcome letter at the front end of her journal every month, just like in a magazine letter from the editor. I never read those. I always read Mayhaw's letter, because she talks about why this theme and what it means to her, and kind of her wishes for us as we dig into the theme. The first thing that jumped out at me was this from her letter: is true prosperity is about living a life rich in purpose, joy, and fulfillment. Goes on to say abundance in every form, not that financial, but like love and health and opportunity. So just excited to dig into this theme with you this evening. Our agenda, we have a packed agenda, because new month, new year, end of month, end of year, there's a lot going on tonight. So we're probably, your chances are you may not finish your entire setup this time. Take your notes. I always say, have your posties ready to write and scratch and stick on your pages. We're going to start with our monthly acrostic poem. We're going to actually do page 3, our yearly reflection. Normally that page is our definition page. Then we're going to do our December reflections, our January intentions, and finish up with setting up those mood trackers and habit trackers. So in these past few months, we've been digging into acrostic poems to frame out our theme for the month. And so this month is no different. We're going to take the word prosperity. We're going to start brainstorming some things that come up for you. Just like write down some stuff, and then we're going to see if we can't work that into a poem. Now, there is a lot of science behind writing poetry. Again, this is your journal. No one's going to grade it, but it activates some centers in your brain that really help keep that brain elasticity. So when we do these activities, there's a lot of reasons why we're doing what we're doing. So I'm going to encourage you to, see what you can do to come up with an acrostic for prosperity. your page might be set up something like this. Sometimes we have an acrostic page printed in the journal. This month we do not. So I'm going to encourage you to go to a notes page, a blank space. Maybe you'll use a scratch pad. Some brilliant Sonder family members, if you look over to the right, they went to page 1 where there's that little list of notes, and they actually fit their acrostic in there. But here are some examples of using each letter of the word, or each letter from the word prosperity to kick off an acrostic poem. Nicole's going to do hers on page 22. So, already start thinking about that. But I also, if you're like, I don't know if I'm quite ready to dig into prosperity, maybe you'll just take the month of January and that word and perhaps create an acrostic using our brand new month. Or you could even do a kind of that word cloud idea, just like, for you, what does prosperity mean? What comes up? And you just start, jotting down all these words and creating a word cloud. We're going to spend just a few minutes working on this. And as you are coming up with stuff, drop that in the chat, because you may inspire other folks. And I'll go back and forth between these slides while you're working on that. And then we'll dig into our next activity. Alrighty, thank you for spending time to kind of get started on this. Donna, we're glad you're here. I'm sorry that it took you so long to find that link to get in, but we're glad you're here. And Bailey, for everybody, Bailey has dropped in the chat the links that you can access to be able to add Silk and Sonder events to your to like your personal calendar. So you may want to scroll up a little bit and grab those. That's one of the things that I love about having that, is that it's just on my personal calendar and it's a little bit easier. So I'm sorry. We're just glad you're here. Take a deep breath. We're just glad you made it tonight, but I am sorry that it was tricky to find us. So you kind of got started on that. You might want to sit with that poem for a little while. You don't, there's again, nobody's writing this. There's not a time frame. But I am going to now invite you to page 3. Like I said, that was normally our definition page. So February through December, you're going to have the definition of the theme for the month on page 3. But in January, we get this bonus prompt where we do a quick little look back over our previous year, kind of a nice way to say goodbye to 2024. And the boxes here say things I achieved, people I met, places I went, and books I read. That's a great place to start, but you don't have to use those categories. I'm going to show you a couple of examples, but first I want to share these tips. Yes, and Carly, get all the journals out and spread them out. And again, this might just be your jumping off point, and then you'll actually do a little bit more time with this page. I actually ran out of spaces once I got going. And the way I got going was I went back and I started with my photo roll. Just scrolled all the way back to January, and then that triggered memories for me, and I started plugging some things in. Of course, grab those old journals, look at the calendar on your phone, how you spent, maybe, oh yeah, I forgot about that big presentation I did in June. That was a big win. So I want to put that for things I achieved. And then again, you can change any of these up. So mine for me this year, I am retired, and so I finally get a chance to lean into all the I love to craft. I'm a hobbyist kind of person. So I changed people I met. I changed that box to completed projects. Some of the stuff that I saw, through to the end. They're not just sitting on the table over there. So that was something I wanted to celebrate and to look back. So I changed that. The person on the right changed people I met to things I learned. And instead of places I went, they changed that to concerts that they attended. So kind of think about your life and what brings you passion. Maybe this was the year of trying all the new recipes, and you kind of challenged yourself in the kitchen. And so you're going to take a look back at that. So again, it's about, but yeah, Megan, completed projects. I used to not be able to do that. So that's one of the advantages of being retired. And I laughed because when I did go through my phone and I start, my one of the things I didn't travel this year that much, but the first place I went last year in January was the emergency room with my grandson, and I'd kind of forgotten like that when it happened. But his parents are at a wedding in Mexico. I dropped my little green guy off. He's a little toddler. Dropped him off at school and wasn't halfway down the street and got a phone call that he fell at school and I had to get some stitches in. And I was laughing. Well, I started my year off in the ER. And he was fine, but it was just like I forgot about that. So I went through that photo roll to kind of jog my memory. So yes, Tina, this is on page 3. It's at the very front end of the journal. So I'm going to give you some time to work on this, a pretty nice little chunk of time. And as you recall things and you remember things, kind of let us celebrate those things. And remember, they can be small. It can be you were having a really tough time and you got, I got out of bed on this really tough day, and I'm pretty darn proud of myself for doing that because I really wanted to stay in bed. This doesn't have to be big things. This is about your life and your achievements. And I am a big reader. I read 52 books. I told Bailey some of them are audiobooks, but I count them. So I didn't list them. I just wrote a big 52 to celebrate that. Okay, so page 3, let's go, and please share and let us celebrate alongside you this evening. Okay, I know that 5 minutes does not do this reflection justice. The few things that were shared in the chat just make me smile. I'm so happy for y'all. And it's so important to do these kind of look backs, right? And really see that, oh, so some good things did happen this year, because it's so easy to forget that, right? I laughed because when I was like doing mine and going through it, like one of the things I learned this year was learning how to play chess. Now I'm not very good, but I can hold my own with my 6-year-old grandson. But what I love about that is, like, January last year, I didn't set out learn how to play chess as a goal, right? It just kind of came up. But it's something like I've always wanted to do. My little grandson showed interest before I knew it. We were reading and having cheat sheets and we did it. And so these kind of reflections help you remember, like, oh, look at what I did. Yay, me. So again, you're probably going to need more time to finish this out, and I do appreciate you sharing. And feel free to keep writing as we're gonna start looking at our setup. But I did want to get y'all kind of, going on that, because it's such a good way to end the year, to remember all the good stuff that you did and the things that happened in your life. And even if stuff was bad and tough, make a thing for that, make a box for that, and write to that and say goodbye to it, and remember that you're sitting here today, having survived those really hard things, and that is something to celebrate. So we're gonna jump now into our monthly planner. I love this theme, or this quote from Jim Rohn: never begin the day until it is finished on paper. How powerful is that for us Silk and Sonder community members? We are all about paper, and finding the power of planning out what we want our lives to look like through this journal. So I had to throw that one in there. We're going to start now with our December reflections, which you will find on page 8. And this is a really, really cool page. Yes, and Michelle, I'm with you. I love these colors this month, those dusty blues and pinks. So we're going to start off with our wins, challenges, and favorite moments. And then I'm going to ask you to wait on that bottom page, and we'll do that separately. So I would love to just kind of dig into just December. Again, you may be finishing up your yearly reflection, but let's kind of stop for a moment and think about how these past 30 days have been for us. What were your wins this month? I have to laugh because I did a monthly setup a couple nights ago, and somebody said, my holidays were great. I was able to not tell off my mother-in-law, and I consider that a win. So think about those things that you did, that you're celebrating, the things that made you smile. That was accomplishment. Challenges, we have those. What didn't go well? Right now, this always feels like the sickness time of the year. Folks are fighting upper respiratory stuff, and then you might want to go take a peek over your roses and your buds and your thorns from the month. This is a great way to draw this information, if you've been keeping up with those rosebud thorn reflections. And again, I'm going to encourage you, grab your phone, look at your calendar, look at those photos, to kind of jog your memory. So right now, we'll just look at your wins, your challenges, and then of course, your favorite moments. Sometimes the wins and the favorite moments are the same thing. Let me put on a little bit of music, and then I'll come back in and we'll move to the bottom part of this page. Okay, continue to work on these reflections, but I am going to take a moment to drop down now to that bottom section of this page. And y'all, this is like, for me, it's kind of my compass that's going to set everything else into play for the month. It's looking at the things that I want to start, the things I want to stop, and the things I want to continue. And so I think this space is super important to be very intentional with, but also be sure you go back and look at it frequently, as because I think it can really inform how you set your weeks up. So the things you want to start, of course, that's the stuff that, it's not happening now, but you want it in place. You're thinking about, what do I need in my life? You want to get some better results or try some new things. Of course, the things that do not serve you, that are not helping you along in your journey, we need to stop that. And so that's the kind of stuff that'll go in this middle box. And I've got some really great examples to share with you. And then what is going great? Let's celebrate that and put that in writing and give power to that, and be sure that we are being mindful to carry that forth, to continue doing the stuff that is going well. So some tips for setting this space up. Maybe there's a relationship that you really want to focus on. And so that relationship is going to guide what you put in each of these spaces, that one relationship. So you can kind of get a theme going here. It could also be something like health or wellness. And so everything's gonna, the way, what are you starting that affects your health and wellness? What are you stopping that affects your health and wellness? What are you continuing? It could be something like decluttering. That's always a big one right now, this time of year in January. Or maybe you look at yourself and say, I have this core value of trust. And so if I take that core value, how do I put some things into place in my life so that I can really honor that core value? What do I need to start? What do I need to stop so that I'm being authentically me? It could be based around your finances, maybe an education goal, your habits, or also just taking our theme of the month, prosperity, and looking at, for a prosperous life, what do I need to start? What do I need to stop? And then what are the things I'm doing now that bring prosperity to my life? What do I want to continue? So here's some examples from Wonderful You, that, how folks have set this space up. And I'll go back and forth between these slides while you're working on it. You don't have to write things out. If you have some stickers that speak to the things that you want to start, stop, and continue, by all means, grab them. I always say stickers want to be stuck. So go through them. Maybe there'll be those little visual images that will help you be mindful of this space. Again, I love the one at the bottom here that they've done both, right? There's a sticker there for what do I want? I want to continue to be positive, positive, positive. And then I love the deeper dig into asking yourself questions around, what do I want to start? What is it? Why? Why is this important? And then how? What is a step that I can take to start making this happen? And so these are some great examples of that. You see the one of the, what do I want to do? I want to start clearing things. I want to start decluttering. Why? Because I want to get new carpeting. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to donate as much stuff as possible. So really kind of creating a little bit of a mini action plan by asking ourselves those questions. And then finally, this is from the our Instagram account. If you're not following Silk and Sonder on Instagram, do it. It's got great content. But this space can kind of be repurposed in this format. I feel a certain way because of, and I want to feel, or what do I need? What is that showing me I need? So you can kind of frame that out if that is your takeaway, that, is going to serve you the best. So I'll stop talking now while you work on this section. Kind of, if you're comfortable, this is a very personal section, but feel free to share because you may inspire one another. All right, good job, everybody. This is, again, like I said, I think this is a pretty important part of our journal setup because it does sort of create that direction for where we're going to go for the month. So now let's look at January's intentions. You're going to find intentions on page 9. There are 6 spaces, 6 kind of places in our life that we can set intentions. I'm here to give you permission to do all 6 or 2 or 3, really whatever you need, right? This is about setting yourself up for growth and you know what you need the most. So don't feel very locked in to all 6 of these. If maybe 3 of these areas really speak to you, then pour your energy into 3 areas. Also, you can change these intentions up to fit your needs and your personal life. I mentioned that I am retired, and so I don't really have my professional goals anymore, but I do want to stay, an active lifelong learner. So my professional goals always become my learning goals for the month. And I make sure I'm plugging into things like nonfiction reads, watching documentaries, taking a class online, maybe taking a class at my library. So it helps me remember to be mindful about something that is very important to me. So I change that up. And usually my personal life is changed to creative life because again, I love to dig into my hobbies and be a maker. So let's take a look at these intention areas and how folks have set their pages up. Now full disclosure here. I tend to just use my little black pen but you're going to see some beautifully, beautifully set up spaces here, but don't feel pressure. You don't have to do that. So you can use stickers. Look at this fun page over here on the upper left. That is, again, stickers want to be stuck. I always love framing things out with duality. So there's a couple of examples there on this page that you see where someone is going to do more of something and less of something. So in each one of these intentions, more of, less of, or I choose this and I release that. So those dualities are beautiful ways to set your intentions for the month. Also, you can kind of like you see at the bottom right there, those sort of affirmation statements. I will, I can, I commit to, I intend to. And then you kind of complete those out. They become sort of an affirmation. You can also just use one word. So, maybe for spiritual health, it's peace. And then that will help you frame out your goals for the month, that you're going to do things that will bring you peace. You could also use the monthly theme like you see in the upper right corner. That theme happens to be connect. So perhaps you're going to throw in that prosperity mindset for these setups. Here is another one on the more and less duality, as well as incorporating quotes in the setup. And I love this because you can see like the one over here on the right, the spiritual health has been changed to mental health because that's what this person feels is going to address their needs the best. And then personal life is their creative growth. So really leaning into that. It is all about setting this up for what you need. Here we are again looking at the duality of embrace and release. And then here's one that's just kind of that collage, cutting out images, doing a scrapbook style kind of, embracing that artistic side of journaling. Maybe you're a doodler and you'll draw some beautiful pictures to depict what your intentions are for a month. There's a great example of how you could use song titles or lyrics to frame these out in a fun way. And then this one over on the right, everything is changed to be able to have an intention that fits the areas that they really want to see growth in. So all of them are changed as you can see, one word for each one of those categories. And if you leave any of these blanks, that could be a great space for reflection of maybe the 3 intentions you're embracing or the 4 intentions. And then you do some little self check-ins with the extra spaces left. So let me put on some music while you work on this. If you change any categories up, we'd love to know what you're doing because you'll inspire someone else may be like, oh, I didn't think of that. That's great. Or if you let us know what your intentions are for the month. I'll be back to check in a moment. All right, it's okay if you don't have these quite written. Like I said, I think these are pretty important. So take the time that you need to get these just right for the month. Carrie had asked me where I get my repositional glue stick, and I dropped the link in the chat to Carrie, but you can grab it too. But Scotch makes a little repositional glue stick, which makes any piece of paper turn into a post-it note, which can be really helpful because you may find that you want to keep your intentions sort of the same from month to month, and you might want to, put it on a piece of paper, do this repositional glue it down. But then in February's journal, you're going to transfer that over because it's something you're passionate about and you still want to work on it. And you've already written it once, right? So you don't want to go and write it again. But you can kind of move things forward. I do that a lot with my bingos. I'll pull my bingos out of the journal. Like we have a bingo this month, and chances are I won't finish your thing, so I'll take it into February. So I'll use a repositional glue stick and slap it on a piece of paper in that. All righty, so we've got that. Now I want you to promise me that you're going to look at those intentions every week when you go to do your weekly setup. When I first started using this journal, I would make these beautiful intentions and then I would forget to use them as a tool for moving forward into my weeks. And if you spend time doing it, so go look at them and then they will inform how you set up your goals and to-dos for that week. So now we're going to flip the page over to our mood tracker, and we're going to talk about this mood tracker because if we track our moods, it can be so helpful for us to notice trends and maybe what we can do about those trends once we are paying better attention to those moods, and we can equip ourselves, right, to deal with it. So let's take a look at these trackers. Normally we suggest picking 2 to 3 kind of positive, happy feelings, moods, something kind of neutral, and then something, a couple that maybe anger, sadness, those kind of negative feelings, and track sort of, you get a balance of things. You can maybe take a look at prosperity and sort of track your mood through that mindset. And some people track every mood for the day, and some people will say, okay, at noon every day, I'm going to check in with myself and kind of, track what I'm feeling that day. So this is our feelings wheel. You can actually find this on the Silk and Sonder homepage, the web page, and you just put in the search bar feelings wheel or mood tracker, either one, and this will come up. So you can access this at any time. But the 6 basic moods, feelings, are fear, love, joy, anger, and sadness. And you'll see those in the very core of this wheel. And then as we move out those feelings, we get a little more specific So when you look at love, if you go all the way out, there's many different kind of nuances of that feeling. I have suggested that, maybe if you're feeling like maybe you're having some anger, like, I don't know if it's my job, I don't know what, but I feel like I'm always grumpy. Maybe you look at anger and really focus in on those different types, and maybe you track everything. You might pick 6 of those kind of feelings that fall under anger so that you can really try to hone in on what might be triggering those negative feelings. So anyway, we have this mood tracker. This is the hexagon. You're going to have a mood wheel and you're going to have a mood tracker. They both track. They will contain the number of days of the month. This month, we happen to be using our hexagon. Here's some examples of how our Sonder family has set this up. And the one here that you see on the left actually has taken those 6 basic feelings and put it in the mid. They put those in the middle, and then they kind of expounded on each one of those feelings with those other words so that they can check in with themselves as they track that. Some more, feeling words. Pretty basic setting that up. It's really up to you how you want to track it. If you want to do stickers, if you want to color it in. Yes, thank you, Michelle. We love that. The one over here on the bottom right, they're tracking 3 emotions, and they are also checking in with their energy level, which I love that connection, right? Trying to maybe have an understanding of why I'm feeling the way I am. And then there's ways to repurpose this tracker. I always say, feel free to make copies of these trackers. Maybe you have a tracker for work and then a tracker for home. So, if that's something that you find to be helpful. So let's look at some ways that people have repurposed them. The anxiety tracker that you see over there on the upper left is actually one of Bailey's old trackers. And she used that to really pay attention to how she was feeling with her anxiety and doing those check-ins with herself. There's a calm tracker, a spending tracker. Maybe finances is one of the things you're working on. You put that in your stop, start, and continue. You use that as an intention. Now you're going to track your spending here. The one over on the right, I love this. How am I going to manifest happiness in my life? And so, lots of different ways of, bringing happiness from the world into your soul by what you do. So, am I making a connection? Am I being creative? Did I compliment somebody? And tracking that movement, calorie, how to start the day in a good mood tracker. Look at that. And if you do all 6 things, you get a sticker for the 6 things. If you do 2 of the 6 things, you get a sticker for that. But what a great way to start the day, especially if starting the day is not your favorite thing to do. That's a great repurpose. There are ways to use this as a symptom tracker. Mine is there on the left. I track my books. I just write the title, and when I read that day, I color that in. Workout tracker, kindness tracker, activity tracker, rate your day on a scale of. So many ways to use this tracker. So I'll stop talking. Y'all share in the chat. I see some, here's what I do. I check in 3 times a day, or how you're using that. Share with each other, because that's how, we get the most out of these. And I'll be back to check in with you in just a few minutes. right, good working on this mood tracker. And a reminder, Bailey said you don't feel like you got to take it all on. And maybe if this feels like a lot right now, you skip the mood tracker, or you just track, maybe, you go and you turn to it and you just check in if you're having a bad day and you mark that off. One thing I neglected to say that I meant to say is, you might want to like draw lines if you have days that look really different, like you have a hard weekend, Saturday, Sunday versus a Monday through Friday work week. Maybe you outline your Saturdays and Sundays, because your moods may fluctuate based on where you are and what you're doing. And so and then you have some data to go like, golly, I didn't realize, how I was being impacted by my work life or by my home life. And I love the story Maya tells. Maya is one of our other facilitators, and again, talking about this being a piece of data for you so that you get to know yourself better, and then you can figure out what you need. One of our Sonder family members had said, my husband always said, you're always in a bad mood. And she said she went and got her tracker and turned to her mood tracker and said, I am not. And she had data to show. Most of my days are pretty darn good. Look, I have the data right here. So, it's really up to you, but I love that story. And it's okay. And I'll tell you, I tried to use it as a mood tracker, and it just didn't work for me. I have lots of moods. So I just found that landing on something that I was passionate about, which is reading, it felt good to mark that off. So give yourself permission to try a couple of things. Maybe just track 2 moods this month. And if it doesn't work for you, maybe you can find something else, right? That you'll be like, oh, I'm gonna record all my steps in this space, because that is something that's very meaningful to me. So give yourself permission. Yes. And as Christine says, start with small steps. If you really want to utilize this journal, give yourself that time and space to grow and learn and try some things out. So now we're going to finish up by looking at that habit tracker for the month. And I love this tracker, because it's kind of like what I want to do most of the days this month. And it pairs beautifully with that stop, start, and continue space that we worked on with our reflections, our December reflections. So you might want to go take a look at those boxes. Remember, I asked you to go back and flip through those things, look at those intentions to inform how you set up your habits. And I've got some great examples to show you. Now, just remember, you don't have to fill in every line. Maybe you need to track 2 things this month, because January is huge. Set yourself up for success. You can make I love seeing this one every month, this beautiful mandala. It's been drawn in, it's colored in. That's not me. I'm a check the box kind of plain, like I said, black pen gal. But you might find that you get your art therapy through doing this tracker. Please notice the one on the right. You see that those weekend days are highlighted. And it could be that you, maybe give yourself permission to not worry about that daily grind and those daily habits on the weekend. So you take the weekend off. Or maybe you're just trying to see, am I more successful with my habits on the weekend or the weekdays? Again, this is about gathering your personal data and what you're trying to do. I'm going to encourage you to give yourself a couple of gimmies here, a couple of wins. If you make your bed every day, make my bed on one of these lines, because you're giving yourself a win. You're turning to that page. It's making you look at this page, checking things off. And if you have a habit that's already well established and you want to try something new, pair that brand new habit with something that you are automatically going to do, and you're going to have more success with that new habit, because it's now being paired. You don't check it off until you've done both. Lots of ways to set this up, to track it. Notice the one on the right. I love the notations outside of the tracker. Just that reminder that, there's some travel involved, and so I may be off a little bit on those days. When I'm in Oregon, I might be living out of a suitcase. My 10,000 steps might look a little different because I'm traveling. And then here's an example on the left of tracking 3 things. And I love the boldness of that tracker, going in and coloring those spaces. The one on the right, this is very interesting. This person has done their habits, but then they wrote along the habit tracker their why. So, for example, one of their habits is unplug by 8 p.m. and it says my why, so that I can be present with my family. And then this person will color those boxes in, but they wrote their why. Again, really doing that powerful pen to paper. There's just so much science behind committing it in writing. So when you're seeing it, you're writing it, your brain is really processing it. So I love that why. And then here's a couple of completed habit trackers, and you can see there are missed days. Those missed days have been acknowledged, with some little write-in lines on the one on the left, and tallied up. They tallied up the number of times those things happened through the month. Again, data collection. And so, when you're looking at that, you can go, I only did this 15 times and there were 30 days this month. So I didn't do it all the time. Now I've got this information. How do I need to change this habit up so that I meet that goal, that thing that I want to do? But I obviously need to do something different because I didn't do it as often as I wanted to do. The one on the right, if you notice, actually did the percentages at the end of the month. Like, what was my percentage rate on, the no spend challenge? Well, I was 59% successful. And again, kind of having that data. So when you have that information, you can sit down, reevaluate how to set a habit up so that you will be more successful. And then remember, this is not a bingo board. So you're not, cover all isn't the only way to win. If you've checked off 10 days of something that you were not doing before, 10 days is a win. Give yourself that win, and also give yourself grace. If you get sick, if you have days where you just don't do it, just let that go. Again, this is a piece of paper. This is neutral. James Clear, who is the guru of habits, says, when you're choosing a new habit, many people say, what can I do on my best days? And he says the trick is to say, what can I stick to on even my worst days? Start small, take little bites, and you're going to be so much more successful with those things that you want to do. I'm going to scroll through all of these pages. I have some lists of some ideas for habits. If you've got a couple of things, but you're looking for maybe inspiration for trying a couple of other things. And then we will close it down. Share with us. What are you tracking? Yes, and James Clear, if y'all have not read Atomic Habits by James Clear, I highly recommend it. He's good. He's really good. And he says, you can say, I want to walk a mile every day, but your habit may need to be, I pack my shoes, along with my work stuff. And so then if you have the shoes, you're more motivated to move into that next habit. He's always about those small bites. He's a very good read. James Clear, Atomic Habits. Alrighty, so I'm going to stop talking and we're going to set up our habit tracker.
Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Open all the windows, let your song. The world will sing along. Oh, life's what you make it. Oh, it's yours for the taking. You can test the water, you might as well jump in. And we don't know where we'll end up, so you might as well begin. Memories you're making, you frame inside your heart. Middle of a nowhere, so somewhere you can start. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Oh, life's what you make it. Oh, it's yours for the taking. Go and write your own song. All the world will sing along. And when you find your melody, we'll join in harmony. Oh, life's what you make it. Oh, life's what you make it. Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Life's what you make it. Oh, life's what you make it. Oh.
All right, so we have set up our monthly habit trackers. We have our intentions that are going to be our chauffeur for the month. They're going to drive us toward those goals and those to-dos and those habits that are going to make us a prosperous person. We would love to see your pages in Sonder Club. So please, 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 if you're comfortable, share so that we facilitators love to be able to get those screenshots to share with y'all, but also you inspire one another. I love that's what makes this community so special. If you haven't checked out that personalized coaching, we've been talking about it for a couple of months now. Bailey's going to drop some links in there if you want to get some more information. This is a great time, this whole new year idea about going in and embracing, but doing it gently. What a great companion to have beside you. So I want to thank you. I'm proud of you for showing up, for encouraging one another. The support that's here in the chat just makes me smile. I wish you the happiest new year. Everybody stay safe. And we will see you next weekend for our weekly setups. Have a great kickoff to 2025.